Hey Libra, it's Romy. Welcome to my channel. This is your June 2021 soul story. If you've got a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, then you might just find this general reading is helpful in allowing you to navigate your way a little bit more easily through the next few weeks and all of the astrological activity that's also going to be influencing things. So we're opening up your reading with the guide of the Two of Swords. Of course, does link into your sign, and you know, you have a lot to say this month, and yet you're still in quiet reflection here. Now, of course, Mercury is still retrograde, which means that from a communication perspective, the focus is really on that introspection. And what we really feel is that particularly the first part of the month, especially as we welcome this new moon solar eclipse in Gemini on the 10th, and we also have the second of these kind of provocative conflicting squares between Saturn and Uranus on the 14th, there is something about you just taking stock and a little bit more time to actually come to the kind of complete alignment of what you're about to share, what you're about to say, what you're about to make a decisive decision about. I think one of the important things for you in this time of reflection, as I look at these two birds with the kind of hat that almost looks like their birdhouse, doesn't it? It's like, who makes you feel safe? Who makes you feel supported and nourished? Who makes you feel seen, Libra? And I think there's going to be some really clear indications through this month with that eclipse energy rippling out to show you exactly where you're meant to be investing your energy. Now, with these eclipse energies, there's always that sort of wild card, very sudden, very unexpected, unpredictable quality to them. And because we have that Saturn squaring Uranus coming in just after, it can feel quite volatile. And so I also see you kind of wanting to stand back and step out and away from any drama that might be operating or on the periphery of different experiences that you have through the course of this month, you know, and that intensity, that spinning out energy that Gemini can really bring to our door will bring with it an absolute flood of information. And, you know, perhaps there is a necessity, I think, for you to wait and see what more comes to light, because I think there's also going to be some things that you hadn't even anticipated, you hadn't expected, or weren't even part of your evaluation process in terms of what you've got going on here as you decide on important matters in your life through the course of June, you know. But with this idea of you having a lot to say, I think it's really important that there's still an expression of that and that you're not stilting or suppressing yourself. Because if that happens, there's like a sort of rising frustration that can come through, and it may be that you're wanting to have that really important conversation with somebody, you're needing to get your point across, you want to share something really important, you want to get something tied up or pinned down, or you know, a commitment agreed upon, and it might not be perfect. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. I think there's definitely a recognition through this month of June that so much is going to be in a state of flux, that it's going to be very difficult to kind of get the details tied down. But certainly what you can anticipate is that you're going to get a really clear idea of what feels like cold and barren to you. We want to go where the energy is building and where the fire is being lit and where you're feeling drawn and compelled to kind of want to hang out and to exchange ideas and to connect and to share. And so I think that the representation of anyone or anything that is delivering that sense of scarcity, that is kind of keeping you on the sidelines, that isn't offering anything, that isn't giving emotionally, that feels contained and shut down, and there is that sense of just innate disappointment, you know, you're getting really wise to it. And I think for some of you that might have been going around the circles with particular energy patterns, with ideas or with people or certain aspects of your life, that really the energy kind of feels a little dead. It feels a little like you know, it's not, there's no growth there. And I think you're all about the growth this month, you know, that expansive aspect of Gemini coming in for you is just saying we've got to get moving, we've got to get going. And, life isn't easy right now. We know this, and yet you're still walking it. You're still dreaming. You're still taking time to celebrate it and own things that are going on in your life. And so I think being around or observing or absorbing too much energy from people that just can't have a positive word to say, or just are not on board or not supportive, is just going to give you a really clear line that you're going to draw by way of boundaries. And these boundaries are not mean, they're not about punishing people, they're just actually about giving you the space and time to be able to come to the right decisions and choices for the self. Sometimes people can love us and still not necessarily want us to be really happy, and that can be kind of tough to take sometimes. And so if it is your experience, know that this month of June you are being guided, pulled inextricably forward. There's like deep call that's coming in as we make our way through the month, especially as we come into the sun in Cancer, lighting up that 10th house of purpose, and your dharma is like lit up as you really figure out, who do I want to be right now? Like, how do I want to show up in this moment? And your Two of Wands is saying this, right? You're holding the world in your hands. You're on an elevated position here. And what I really like is that we move from this Two of Swords, where you've kind of got this blind spot, and you're kind of pulling it intentionally down over your eyes, so you don't have to look at something, you don't have to see something, you can figure it out on your own terms, guided intuitively. And then we move past this energy of the Five of Pentacles that is showing us what is good for us and where we've limited or held ourselves back and what we now need to release. And then we come to this completely new platform. And from this place, we start to figure out, okay, this is what I have to say, and this is the way in which I need to say it or express it or to share it. And you have that beautiful luminous energy of the full moon here. And actually, if we take a minute to just reflect that the full moon in Capricorn comes in on the 24th of the month, just after Mercury goes direct, and it's into that 10th house energy for you. It's going to be really bountiful time for you to ground and actualize some of the things that you've been working on, or what you want to achieve, commitments that you want to deliver on. And I think you're going to see it amplified in quite a big way. Now, we are in retrograde season. We've already got Pluto, Saturn and Mercury back spinning. And then on the 20th, Jupiter also goes retrograde in the sign of Pisces, followed by Neptune on the 25th. So what happens when all of these planets do this going to sleep backspin transit is that we have the opportunity to realign with what's going on within us, and the expansion that happens is on the internal. The decisions, the choices, the awareness all comes by us calling our energy back into the self. And so your Two of Cups here does invite you to think about what's in and out of balance in your life, where you're seeking unity, who you are aligning with, whether you have departed from your own timeline, from your own intentional journeying, and you have stepped in too much or too far to someone else's idea or agenda or thought process in terms of what's right for you. So I think there's some really interesting narratives that are taking place. And remember, the Gemini and Sagittarius eclipse is about the conversation that's taking place between our higher and our lower mind, which means that you are going to have some tense conflict with that ego part of yourself as it tries to keep you locked into a old storyline, or it tries to pull you away from where the growth is. And here's the thing, the loving of your life means that we have to love the growth, and the growth is hell of a messy, right? It's not pretty at times. And so we know it isn't easy at the moment, but we also know that it has real purpose for us. And I think for many of you, some of the more emotionally dysfunctional situations of your life are likely to be highlighted in June, not by way of punishment, but by way of observation, especially with these retrograde planets kind of really drawing the lens inwards. And the eclipse may well bring about profound change and release energies at a deeper healing level for you, or certainly shift the trajectory of where certain things are going. And so we must allow ourselves to move forward with that, because ultimately all of these experiences, they're not about what's right and wrong by way of our decisions. It's all always about, this is an experience and I'm meant to kind of meet it in the moment and see what I can learn and understand about myself because of it. So your Two of Cups comes in with an emphasis for sure in and around relationships within the self, but also how you're seeking balance, and how you're coming to the decisions that you are in your life. And maybe, I think for some of you, there might just be a complete overhaul in your evaluation process, how you decide what's good for you, how you make decisions. Maybe there's conversations that need to happen now within a family, within a relationship, within friendships, or at work, where you say, do you know what, I have to come at this in a different way, because it doesn't suit me, or it doesn't work for me, it doesn't feel right for me to do it in the way that I've done it previously, because I know more now. I'm coming from this higher level of consciousness, and I've kind of had this interesting dialogue with myself that at times has kind of really pulled me up short and given me a hell of a spiritual slap. And so I have to honor that. I have to embody it. I have to walk forward and actualize what I've understood about me. And this is what I mean when I say you have so much to say, because you have gained so much experience in this path of purpose that you've been walking in the last few months. So we have the Lovers, real emphasis around this alignment. I think it's also you considering like the shared values, like who shares your outlook, who shares your beliefs, who is mirroring an energy that feels comfortable and safe and supportive for you. Big choices and decisions amplified by this eclipse energy through the course of June, that I think is going to put you firmly in the driver's seat, even though at times you might feel like the car is out of control, spinning out of control. Actually, you're going to realize quite quickly that with some quick, rapid, decisive choices at the right times, you can really elevate yourself past a lot of the fractious kind of white noise beneath you. I think there's going to be important discussions for many of you about agreements that need to be readdressed, okay? Perhaps what worked for you before is no longer going to work for you now, and that might be from a contractual perspective. It might mean financially that you're now less willing to accept certain terms. It might be that things have come to an end of life point and you need to renegotiate. Closer to home, it might mean, from a business or professional perspective, partnerships, key people in your life. I feel like the renegotiation is really important. Now, bearing in mind, of course, anything during Mercury retrograde still has that slight confusing kind of hazy energy around it, and so we may well have to revisit again, even if terms are agreed or things are discussed in that first part of the month. I think you're going to have much more clarity as you come out of June and into July. Now, when we move into the second part of the month, as the sun comes into Cancer, we hit this beautiful dreamy energy as we approach the solstice, which is happening on the 21st. The sun stands still in this moment, the longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere and the shortest in the southern. And it's a time where we also welcome Venus trining Neptune. Venus is in Cancer, so very emotive, sensitive, tactile, feeling its way through in this sign, helping us to want to nurture our soul self, and also just take care of people, take care of business. And also with Neptune in Pisces, there's that unlocking of this imaginative aspect of ourselves. And your Eight of Wands here, I love that she's just being pulled up and carried up here with all of these umbrellas, like Mary Poppins style. So, the energy is moving. It's very wistful at this time. It's very spiritual, and any opportunity to do any kind of balancing, harmonizing, clearing ritual that's going to support you in terms of who and what you want to surround yourself with is going to be extra, extra potent and powerful during that time. Even as we come out of the solstice energy on the 23rd, the sun trines with Jupiter. So again, anything that you've been focused upon or that is coming in for you at that point, and there is news and communication on its way that feels bountiful, is getting amped up. And I want to say that about June, like everything feels like it's bigger, it's the stakes are higher, the awareness is stronger, the momentum is more powerful. So it's not a quiet month, it has a lot to say, just like you have a lot to say. And it's just like we want to just grab that and we want to work with that energy as we're kind of moving forward. Now, of course, that Saturn squaring Uranus can feel a little tough. Think back to the 17th of February. That was the last time we had that square. It may well have rippled out or come in a little early for you at the beginning of the year. And this is the second part of the storyline. We're going to revisit it again at the end of the year on the 24th of December. But remember, these squares cause tension and conflict, and they put us under pressure, quite significant pressure in some aspect or another. And with the Seven of Swords, there is this requirement for us to dig deep and see where we have been sabotaging. We've got this internal struggle and fight that's going on within this kind of almost power control aspect, and the freedom and the liberation within us, wanting this powerful revolutionary aspect to our life to kind of flow out and play out in a way that serves us. And yet part of that means that we have to face up to these tougher, harder angles and energies in our life that just feel super uncomfortable. So there is this reminder that through June you're not getting let off the hook, but really nor would you want to, because this is about really important growth, and we have to kind of crack something open in order to really get to the root and the heart of something. What you might find is that you're very, very aware of where there might be less than desirable or slightly disingenuous energies that are moving in and around you, or even where you're really lacking trust within yourself or someone else, and it's got to the point where it might mean that there's a block, or that there's something that feels difficult to overcome, an impasse if you like. And what I feel is that we can look at this one of two ways. We can kind of sit down and just go, okay, well, this is not working, there's no point. Or, which is going to be in that lower mind, or we can take that higher perspective. We can tap into a different level of our consciousness, and we can say, okay, where are the solutions here? What do I need to learn? What do I need to understand about why I keep coming to this point, to this energy, because there's something repeated about it that has shown up for you. And even if it's been something that's a little more challenging that came in through the beginning of the year, as we revisit it, you're revisiting it from such a new place of wisdom. I mean, already the amount of change that's taken place within you just since February of this year is extraordinary. Just like take a moment to actually think about that, Libra, how much has changed in your life. And in that Cancer season, as we look at your 10th house, which is just really focusing on the legacy you want to live, that want to leave, and how you're putting time, energy, and attention into the work that you do, whether it be career, professionally, or if you're retired, just into things that make you feel nourished and supported. And even if in June it feels excruciatingly uncomfortable, I promise you, by the time that we go 12 months from now, it feels so sweet. It feels such an intrinsic part of who you are in your life. It's beautiful. It's like you'll not even remember a time that you weren't the person that did this or had this or expressed this, that it was a part of your life in this way. So just keep that in mind, okay? There's challenges that come through energetically where we feel like we're doing things and it's almost like I feel like a round peg in a square hole, like I'm not, this doesn't feel comfortable, this doesn't feel like me, but we have to get past that. You know, we have to break a few eggs before we kind of really start to see the deliverance of these gifts and what they can do for us and how we're going to use them. And that can flow into all areas of your life, even if you're just back out there on the dating scene, or if you're trying to initiate something new, you're trying to take control of your health, or you're trying to shift or change a dynamic, within your relationships. It's not going to feel comfortable or easy this month, but as long as you say what you have to say and you allow yourself to keep moving forward, that's when you're going to get the real upside of this. And I promise you, a year from now, it's going to you're just never going to look back from it. You will never look back from it. Okay, so the Page of Pentacles, it is this sort of initiation time of allowing yourself to learn. Like, be open to it. Be open to how the universe wants to come in and say, do you know what? There's a little bit more work to do in this area. And, when you let yourself detach from that ego self and you say, you know what, I know nothing. And that's just from a place of humility and just being from today, I just want to be clear-minded, eyes wide open. It's just show me, teach me, help me to understand, help me to evolve, help me to grow. That kind of attitude, not only with yourself, Libra, but I actually think that's going to be really beneficial if you're having some difficult conversations with people where you just can't get on board with what they're saying or where they're coming from. Step forward with that kind of an energy. It's help me to understand, you know? Don't expect me to be a mind reader. Tell me what you need, tell me what you want, and make sure that that's you conversely. You have to articulate and communicate to people exactly what it is that you are looking to achieve in the moment. Now, I see offers and invitations coming forth for you. It feels progressive and it feels like you should be getting on board and saying yes, especially as I'm looking at that Eight of Wands that's coming in. It's something that can really elevate you and take you further. The news and the communication might come in with an offer that doesn't feel much to begin with, but there's something to work on. And I really like that for you. If you can take the energy of June, even with all of the bigger major dramas that are going to be surfacing and playing out with the eclipse, but you can also take some of the smaller things that are coming in and recognize that right now they might just look like a small insignificant seed, but my goodness, you're going to take it, you're going to run with it, and you're going to really allow it to move and grow into something beautiful. That's what I need you to understand about what you can work with by way of potential through the course of this month. The astrology is all over the place, demanding, pushing, pulling, and kind of forcing us inwards at the same time as delivering this kind of shattering of our heart chakra so that it absolutely blows wide open and then expands so that we have the capacity to love more, to receive more. And understanding that dynamic that is at play is going to be really supportive in how you put your best foot forward and really kind of seize the opportunity and the potential that's going to come your way, which is going to be significant if you're open to it. So let's take a look and see how these oracle cards want to join the conversation. Okay, closing door, completion. And you have number 5 here, and it kind of for me links into that 5 of Pentacles. I absolutely think that you will call time, or you are acutely aware of what does need to be released. And there has to be a surrender with that, Libra. Even if it's what you want, sometimes we can still resist it, but you have to be really aware energetically of where you might not be fully surrendering into what the universe is trying to take out of your life, okay? And if for some of you there is loss there that clearly isn't something that you want to lose, or if there's wild change by way of your emotional or financial stability or security, you still haven't seen where the light's coming in, and you can see how that light is emanating from behind the doors. So it's there are new doors to open, and there is enough opportunity and there is enough vibrancy and spark and energy that's building that we have to keep moving forward. And that can be difficult because that means sometimes we have to coexist with the heaviness, the heartache, the pain, the challenge of what we're experiencing. And we have to find hope in the midst of that chaos. But that's what fives are about. And remember, 21 is a 5-year. It's about that contrast, that what comes from it is this progressive understanding of where we can find new solutions for ourselves in our life. And there's a sense of adventure that comes from that. And I know that might not be a word that you would attach or attribute to some difficulties that you might be experiencing on a deeper level. But the adventure is the aspect of energy getting churned up to the degree that it's unknown and it's uncertain, but it's still giving you the opportunity to feel and experience something new and something different. And that's what I need you to hold on to. Like, you're not going to stay stagnant and stuck in that energy. It's not who you are. It's not what defines you. This cage is not here for you. This flower is dying. There's nothing there anymore. We have to look forward. We have to start planning the life that we have for ourselves. Not perfect, doesn't have to be. Okay. Air spirit. Okay. So we love the air energy of Gemini as a fellow air sign. This is working beautifully for you. And again, it's about the knowledge that's coming in. You've got the energy of one here. Know thyself. You know, the initiation, the beginning, the self-expression that's happening here. And making sure that things are coming in and you're grasping them and making them work for you on your terms. You know, she's in the boat here and she's chartering a course. She knows clearly the direction that she wants to move towards, and the sail here has caught the wind. There's energy, there's flow, there's movement, and you're up above this beautiful forest. And if you think about this being the kind of entangled, difficult energy where you couldn't see and you weren't sure and there was uncertainty, and now you've elevated yourself from this. So this is how Spirit are working with you through the course of this month. It's about moving you beyond. This is what we're saying about tapping into this higher level of your consciousness as you figure out what the gifts have been between the Gemini, Sagittarius, eclipse energies. Okay, your astrology card is trine. Beautiful. It's a gorgeous aspect, right? And like we said, we have Venus trining Neptune on the 21st. We have the Sun trining Jupiter on the 23rd. We actually have the Sun trining Saturn on the 3rd of the month. And Venus trining Jupiter. So this month has a whole lot of nice aspects. So let me just give you these dates because they might end up being really nice, lucky dates for you. So the 3rd of the month, the 21st of the month, and the 23rd of the month. Pay attention to what's going on for you. It should feel supportive. It should feel flowing and really harmonious for you. Nice conversations, sweet feelings, good openings, just feeling like you're in the right rhythm and you're working with the energy, okay? So Libra, this is a general reading for June. If you want to join me for the extended version, I'd love to welcome you. You can find the link for that in the description box underneath. We talk for another 20 minutes or so, just go into these messages in a bit more detail. I'd invite you just to think about a question I might not have answered in the main general reading. We'll go ahead and pull some cards for you here for that. And we'll just clarify this main general now. A way to support my work as well by joining me for the extended, so I'm deeply grateful, appreciative of that. So we've got the Four of Swords and the Knight of Swords coming in over that Two of Swords energy. Of course, people or situations coming in, and I think it's like there's like a time out thing here I'm picking up with that. We'll go in a little bit more detail to explore that. So we have the Knight of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, Page of Wands. Love the brightness. It's almost like, look how his hand is just feeling the brightness of that moon. You're just like radiating something here. I kind of want to say like, whose Nine of Swords is that? Because I'm not sure it's yours. I feel like it's someone's stress and anxiety about what's going down this month. Maybe choices that you're making. The door is closed to someone. You've work to do. Beautiful. Ace of Wands, Page of Pentacles. I love that for you. What have you avoided that has limited your success, your potential, the level of what you want to bring in? Oh, nice. Six of Wands, Knight of Cups. Lovely. Star energy. You have a lot of support coming in for you this month. You just need to sift and sort the people who are really on board and those that you just need to take some space, have some time and distance from. Lovely. Okay, Libra, I'm going to leave it there. If you would like to join me for the extended, I look forward to continuing this conversation with you. Otherwise, have a beautiful month of June. Thank you for being here. If you've enjoyed the reading, please do drop me a like and a comment. It just helps to support the channel. Thank you. Lots of love.